coordinator, Corey Hetherman.
Coach, you basically went, I mean, I'll just say the whole game because it was right at the end when they crossed midfield. It's a pretty good offensive team, and to be that dominant against them had to give you a pretty good sense of satisfaction going home.
Yeah, I think, the goal was we had to stop the run. We wanted to stop the run, we wanted to hit the quarterback early, and I thought our guys right away in that first series, I thought we did a good job. They came out throwing the football, and I thought we affected the quarterback early in the game, and I think that kind of set the tempo for what the defense for the rest of the day, and I think it really helped us get off to a good start.
And obviously, a lot of guys are banged up, missing games. Like Wes has been banged up, and Moten, Keontae, OJ, all these guys. How have you liked how other guys have stepped up to kind of fill that void without really any kind of drop off?
Yeah, that's been really all season long. It's been trying to get additional guys in rotations, get guys a couple series on, get a series off, to stay fresh throughout the game, and to be able to continue to try to attack offenses, but to stay fresh on defense. And that's really a couple of the games early on in the year, probably need to hit the rotations a little bit more. I think we've done a really good job of rotating different guys in and out of the games in different situations, and through different series. And I think this weekend we played like 31 of 32 guys on defense in that game. And there was a couple guys didn't play, a couple guys had limited reps in that one, but a lot of guys stepped up. It's been at really all three levels, different guys, Fitz stepping up and having a really good game, and different guys up front, stepping up and playing different roles or playing in different situations, and no matter the down or distance, like Justin Scott's a guy that continues to get better every single week. It's good to see Moten back out there. Mondo is a guy that's played a lot of different roles for us in different situations. It's just good to see those guys continue to develop their game and continue to take the next step in their game.
And then with Keontae in particular, because Mario said that doesn't look great for him to come back during the season. The guys who were filling his spot, Bryce started in that role. A few other guys rotated in and out there. Just what do you think about how they stepped up in that void?
Yeah, I thought we got challenged the first play of the game. We gave up the first play of the game. They had a 16-yard pass. And Bryce is right there. He peaks, but he's right there. He's playing through the hands. It's a good throw, good catch. Early in the game by their quarterback and receiver. And, but I thought after that, our guys, really did a good job with their detailed eyes, with their alignments, challenging throws, and communicating with different looks, with different motions, different formations, making sure they're all communicating and working together, and different guys in different spots at times, whether it was at corner or, nickel or safety. And I thought those guys really stepped up and handled the situation. I thought the communication, really the last 2 weeks, has been better than where it's been all season. You can see guys working together and talking and making sure they're, seeing it the same way, different formations or different motions and things. And those are the things I think, we did a good job with that the last 2 weeks of practice, and I think it's showing up more and more on film right now.
Coach, with Keontae sideline, Jacoby was talking about how as soon as he knew he wasn't playing, he made sure that Bryce knew every call. When he was on the sideline, we saw how animated he was, how much he was trying to keep the momentum, the emotion up. Just when players or veteran players know that they're not playing but are still trying to find impact, just what does that say about that group, and what type of message does it send to the reserves who are having to fill in those roles?
Yeah, especially with Key, he's a guy that's what he's been since day one. He's always helping, whether it's his rep, it's another guy's rep, asking questions or helping pull up the younger guys or being involved with whatever we're doing as a team. And that's just the type of person he is. He's always getting us better as a program in every aspect, on the field, off the field. And, that's he's always going to make sure we're getting better in those situations. He's always going to be involved. And, he is a huge, what he brings to us as a defense on and off the field just makes us better as a group. And that's evident this weekend, grabbing some of those guys as they come off the field or in different situations and helping them, how he sees it, talking through it, communicating through it with the coaches. That's just the type of person he is, always getting us better and always bringing us up as we go.
The level of physicality in this recent game, did it seem different to you just watching it back?
I think you look all the way back to the Notre Dame game, I think we've played physical. I think we've come out, we've attacked the run, we've played physical, and we tackle. I think we take a lot of shots, and try to force it as we go take a shot on the ball carrier. you know, I think that's kind of the level we've played at all year. I think it showed up right away from the start of this game, and I thought the swarm was better this week. That's one of the things we emphasized in the meeting. Was our guys, I definitely thought all the way through were straining all the way through the ball. Like there's some really good reps of like Pruitt from the backside cleaning up a play, or Poiser coming down, top down. We miss a tackle and he's right there to step on toes and bite the ball and run through the ball carrier. You know, there's a scramble where Lightfoot's on the backside of the play and he makes the play all the way on the other side of the numbers. But I thought our guys in general, like the way that we practice and the way that we play, you know, I think we play a physical brand of football, and I think our guys run to the ball really well. You know, that's the standard of what we want on defense, and I think those guys have continued to buy into that.
After obviously, you know, first year here through 10 games, and you installed the defense through spring and fall. How do you feel like the defense? I mean, they're playing well statistically. How do you feel like they've learned and adapted and fully kind of engaged themselves in this defense? I guess.
Yeah, I think, you know, I still think like every day, even as a coaching staff, like we're constantly working together. Okay, how do we see this? Okay, everyone sees it the same way. It's a different shift, different motion, different formation, different run fit, pass fit. You know, you're always seeing different things as the game is always evolving. And, you know, for us, I think, you know, now you go through spring football, you go through the summer, now you go through, you know, the first 10 games. Obviously everyone's closer, you know, on the staff and with the players. And I think the players are having more confidence because now they've seen different pitchers multiple times. Now they're, okay, I remember this one, we've seen this, okay, now we can just go. Or now they're communicating better together. They're getting used to playing as a group or as a unit more collectively every week. And, you know, at different points in the season, you know, early on you had guys that played together all the way through camp. And then you had a couple injuries there in the midpoint of the season, a couple new guys are in there. And now they're starting to learn how to work together and communicate and play. And, you know, I think our guys have really done a good job of coming in and meeting and working things out and communicating as they watch other games and film and cut-ups. And, you know, I think the last 2 weeks you've really seen where they've worked the best together, you know, through a lot of different pitchers communicating and then just letting it go and playing fast. And, you know, I think as the season goes, you're always going to feel like you're going to get stronger as the season goes on. You know, as the guys just get used to playing together and get a little bit more comfortable together every single week. And, you know, that's our job now during the week to continue to throw different things at them to make sure we stay uncomfortable, so they work together and continue to get stronger as we go.
And then looking ahead to Virginia Tech this weekend, just what do you see from their offense?
Yeah, you know, they're explosive. They do a really good job running the ball. You know, the quarterback's a very good football player, Jones. You know, he's a guy, you know, we've coached against him a couple times. You know, he's a guy, he gets the offense to go. You know, everything goes through him. They're very dynamic in the run game. They do a lot of things, pre-snap, you know, motion, shifts, changing the strength of the formation through different looks. But I think he's a guy, you know, he throws the ball well, but when he's got the ball in his hands and running the football, he's very dynamic. And you look at, you know, 2 games ago, I think they ran for 350 yards or 300 plus yards. Last week against Florida State, you know, it was another 250 yards on the ground. And we got to make sure we got to stop the run. We got to try to make them one-dimensional. We got to get ahead of the sticks in those situations. And then you look at the backs. They got a couple of backs that run downhill. They run between the tackles really well. They can make the first guy miss. You know, there was a couple of explosive plays last week against Florida State early in that game. And we got to make sure we're tackling. We got to swarm to the ball well. We got to make sure we're tackling and we're getting guys down to the ground. And then the receivers, there's a couple of big play threats. You know, I know like 0 and 2 stand out immediately. You know, 11's made a couple of big plays, but you know, we got to make sure we're constantly working together. We got to stop the run, make them one-dimensional, and stay ahead of the sticks in the pass game.
The Jacoby Thomas pick six. Can you just go into what allowed that play to be successful from your perspective?
Yeah, you know, I thought our guys got some good pressure on the quarterback early in the game. And I think on that play, I think we had 2 guys off the edge. You know, we had 1 guy under the back, 1 guy up over the top of the back. It was X and Mo. And I think they put some good pressure on the quarterback. And I thought Jacoby did a really good job staying top down, playing through the zone, reading the quarterback eyes and robbing the throw. He jumped the throw. And then, you know, one thing we always talk about on defense is trying to set up a sideline return. And, you know, I go back to the interception against Florida State with Fitz, where, you know, I feel like if we block the intended and everyone gets below the numbers and we set that thing up, you know, I think we probably score on that play. And it's something we always talk about in practice. We work in preseason camp, and that play was a great example of, we affect the quarterback. It's a really good job by Jacoby jumping the route and, playing top down once he pulls the pin. And then I think Chase blocks the intended receiver. I thought the D-line did a really good job of getting out below the numbers and setting up the return. And I think we get a block on the quarterback right before the end zone, and he gets below the numbers and sets it up for a touchdown. But I thought that was just our guys executing at a really high level, really at all three levels from start to finish all the way through the play. And I think that's why we get the result of the touchdown on the play.
Anything else? Great, thank you.